Hey everyone, welcome to today's video, which is going to be just a very casual spring makeup look. It's a beautiful spring day today and I'm feeling all the good vibes and good weather, so the makeup is going to be reflected in that. I'll leave all the product information in the description box below because I'm also going to do a little chatty life update for you and let you know all the ways that my life is changing right now. So I'm going to get started and just throw my hair up here. Let me know what you guys think about the background. I got some feedback that that plant was kind of competing with me a little bit too much on the other view. So what I've done differently this time is I've angled it so that you can see the window, which I thought might be a nice balance. So that way you get less of this tree. And I don't know, I just think the window looks really pretty. So let me know, do you like this view better, which unfortunately means that I have a little bit of a shadow on my face? Or do you like the other view where I have the lighting kind of more direct on, but it's a little bit less balanced? So my skin has been bone dry ever since getting back from the desert for Coachella. So I'm gonna use more of a glowy foundation today, which is L'Oreal True Match. It's the new reformulated one, and I'm mixing C2 and C2.5. So in case you haven't seen it yet, I posted on my personal channel a video called I Want to Blow My Life Up. And I went to Coachella and I had revelations, huge life revelations, that I need to be doing something with music for, a hobby and my career, that I need to move out of Garberville because I'm just too isolated. I need to be around, bars and restaurants and movie theaters and people. I realized I want to restructure my evenings. I want to read more books. I want to watch less TV. And I want nights that are just to myself where, John and I are in separate rooms. I feel like I've missed a lot of my single self, It's so easy to lose yourself in relationships, right? Like you just get so tethered together, and especially to people like myself and John who work from home, we spend practically every waking moment together. And I just realized recently, it's healthy to have alone time. And as nice as it is that we get along so well, and ever since the pandemic have spent virtually 24/7 together, it's also really healthy to have alone time. And I feel like what's ended up happening in my relationship is, I don't necessarily end up watching all the same things I would have wanted to watch because he's in the room. And luckily, John and I share so many of the same interests and passions, almost always agree on like what movie to watch, what music to listen to. And that's one of the cornerstones of our relationship is our shared interests. But I get in these hyper fixating modes. I get into these loops where I will just want to watch content around one thing and I get like obsessed with it. So right now it's Boy Genius, and like all I want to do is watch interviews with Boy Genius and watch album reviews of the record and watch their concerts and their music videos and fan videos. And obviously that's not something that John is quite as passionate about, although he does love them. Just going in with the new Givenchy concealer in C240. And when I was single, I would be able to go through those obsessive hyperfixating loops. And it was really satisfying because that's always when I was my most creative. That was when I would journal, I would write my feelings down. Sometimes I would write music. I was so much more in touch with who I am and what I wanted as a person. And it's so easy to lose that when you're in a relationship. So I think what we're going to do is 2 nights out of the week, we're going to have separate nights where, we can watch our own things. I can do my own thing and I can kind of just be a little bit more creative. I find it so difficult to be creative when I'm around people. I really feel that I have to be alone. And when you share a bedroom with someone and you share a house with them, it's really difficult to be alone and have that creativity. Like even in front of my partner of 8 years, I find it really embarrassing to sing in the shower. And so I just like stopped singing. And I really missed that side of myself that was 100% free all the time. And I don't think you can ever be 100% free in a relationship because obviously you have to do things that are considerate for the other person and you have to integrate them into your life. But I just want a little bit more of a balance, just getting back to myself a little bit, I think is what would be best for me. And if you haven't watched my video, I Want to Blow My Life Up, I'll leave it linked on the screen above. It goes into a ton of detail about all the changes that are happening in my life right now. I heard that Mercury is in retrograde and there's some other crazy shit going on right now too. And I don't know how much I believe that necessarily, but let me tell you, this week has been nuts. It has been pure chaos, and like everything that can go wrong has been going wrong. I'm dealing with this girl at work who is absolutely not respecting, my almost 10-year sales career and my expertise and best practices. And she basically in a project made me ignore all of my best practices so that we could push forward on an outreach project. And then she got upset that the outreach project wasn't as successful. I'm like, yeah, girl, that's what happens when you ignore all of my best practices that I've developed over almost 10 years. And so now I have to get on a call with her after this and basically justify my sales experience and politely let her know, since she is a superior to me, why I feel strongly about approaching these projects and spending a lot of time to develop them, why I feel passionately about, certain choices, why my best practices are important to the success of the projects, and why I like to do things right rather than do them fast. And I just really don't like having those conversations, especially because this girl who is my superior made a really rude comment to me yesterday on Microsoft Teams. And I'm just like going into that meeting right now in a really negative headspace, but hopefully this Get Ready With Me will kind of chill it down a little bit. But it's just so frustrating. I don't know if any of you are in sales or in biz dev, but like if you are not in sales and biz dev, people absolutely do not understand the work that you do, and they don't respect it either, because people think that it's just like, oh, schmoozing clients and sending some easy emails, but it actually is a very strategic job, and it takes a lot of hard work and experience, and I just want my hard work and experience to be respected. I also have been really scared lately that I'm going to lose my job. I just found out that actually 2 days ago, my company did a big round of layoffs, so I survived, thank God, and I still have a job, but the economy is slowing, my clients aren't giving as much work, it's getting harder and harder to book meetings, people aren't taking meetings, and I'm a commission-based role, so if I'm not performing, I'm not bringing in money, and that is very, very concerning. Meanwhile, my company, who was supposed to pay me my annual commission mid-March, now said that they're not going to pay me until August for my annual commission, and it's a third of my income. Like, it's a large chunk of money, and I'm just frustrated because we're trying to move and we're trying to buy a house, and I don't know if I have a secure job, and I'm dealing with this annoying girl at work, and everything's like, whoa, right now. And I had a couples therapy session with John that didn't go so well yesterday. I mean, normally we're really good, but yesterday's session just we did not align on. And so I'm just kind of in that headspace. And then this morning I had family therapy with my mom that I just got out of. And that is the hardest thing that I've ever done. Man, I'm just like, can I get to the point where I don't have multiple therapy sessions every month? Because god damn, it takes up a lot of headspace. And normally when I have a therapy session, that whole rest of the day I can't film. It's hard for me to work. I get really distracted. And so I just want to get to the point where I'm like, can I be free, please? Can everything just go right? That would be great. But back to the video about wanting to blow my life up. I think some people go to Coachella and they have a great time and they party with their friends and they see some cool shows and they take some outfit pics and they have a nice little vacation. Not me. I go to Coachella and I have spiritual experiences. I have revelations, and it happens to me every time. Coachella really reminds me, and I shared this in my Coachella recap video that I'll link on the screen above, that goes into a lot of detail about the whole trip and, some things that happened. So definitely check that out if you like chatty videos. Okay, real quick, I got this point perk from Sephora. It's the Benefit Fluff Up Brow Wax. So I'm gonna try seeing how that goes. Definitely in the springtime, I like a more fluffy, bold brow look. So I've been wanting to try a product that's more of a wax. Yeah, this seems really nice. It goes on white, but then it's clear. I feel like it is holding my brows up in place really well, but I don't want too much of a laminated look because I think that looks really ridiculous personally. So maybe we'll just kind of do that. Is that a nice shape? It's like fluffy, but not too fluffy maybe? Back to the story. I just felt that I need to do something with music in my life, and I have just been ignoring it forever. Ever since I quit musical theater, I was just so devastated that that career ended up not feeling right to me that I kind of just for years pushed aside the deep desire to be involved with music. And I didn't believe in myself either, I went to NYU, I went to NYU Tisch, and at the time I was in the Cap 21 2021 program. I was in the last year before they got rid of it. And when I was 17 or 18, so 2007 or 2008, it got down to me and one other person for 3 different roles for Spring Awakening on Broadway and for the national tour. And so I was really invested in a musical theater career. I thought that's what I was going to do with my life. And it just ended up not working out. Obviously, I got rejected from that show. Unfortunately, they said that I was too tall, which, let me tell you, when I was a teenager, did a real number on my self-confidence and my height. And ultimately, I realized I was just too sensitive for that kind of a career. And also, I remember the leader of my musical theater program, God, what was her name? I feel like it started with an M. She told me that I would be better off in a career maybe babysitting. Oh, so condescending. It was the worst thing to hear. And especially when you're a teenager who does not have much of like a strong sense of self, that just totally devastated me. And then I like shut down in the rest of the program and I didn't do my best and I was just really discouraged. And then over the years of rejection, I just kind of started feeling like this wasn't for me. Every person in my musical theater class always had to compete to be the loudest and the funniest and the better dancer, the better belter, the better riffer. And as someone who's more of an introvert, I just really shut down in those environments. And so, I realized musical theater wasn't for me. And that was combined with not only my emotional struggles, but my family's financial issues at the time as well. I realized, I need a career where I can at least have some financial stability and I don't want to live, the way I was living at the time, just in a constant state of fear and stress and paycheck to paycheck. But that drive and that love of music never left. And that's one of the reasons I started my Spotify playlist called Song of the Day. Every day I add a new song, so it's really easy for you to find new music. I'll leave a link to that on the screen above if you are interested in new music. Just gonna take the Kulfi Long Wearing Blush in the shade Pinky Promise, which is this very beautiful warm pink. So my love of music never went away over the years, even though I changed careers and, then in 2015, when I moved to LA, I started working at a tech startup and then I got into a sales career and then I ended up killing it and becoming the top seller at basically every company I worked for. That I couldn't give that up, that financial stability was just so exciting. And, I was able to buy makeup for the first time and not worry about it. And that kind of financial freedom really makes a big impact on you. But at the same time, I've never liked my job. I always wanted to do something else, something creative with my passion. And I thought that YouTube would be it. When I finally got the courage after years of being scared to start my YouTube channel in 2019, I thought, okay, this is it. This channel is going to be the thing that fulfills me for the rest of my life. I'm going to do YouTube because I've always wanted to, and that's going to be my creative passion. And unfortunately, the reality is it has just not fulfilled me in the way that I thought it would. And beauty doesn't fulfill me in the way that music does. And I totally respect you if it does for you. And I think that's great. But for me, it's music and it always has been. And so this is a fun creative hobby and it's a little bit of a business for me, which is great, but it's not giving me that deep soul satisfaction in the way that music does. So I thought about it a lot, and at Coachella, I made a list of ways that I can incorporate more music into my life, just as hobbies or as careers. And so I thought of, okay, I could be a talent scout, but that would require a career change. And I really, even though I don't like my actual job, like my day-to-day, I really enjoy what my job provides, which is flexibility, the ability to work from home, financial stability, a team that I like, I'm used to, and I make good income there. So I don't want to do that. I could work at like Live Nation, but again, I would be working in business development. I wouldn't be working in a creative field. And what I'm really needing is some creative fulfillment. So I do have a guitar and I decided to take the guitar out again and I'm going to try to start teaching myself guitar. One of the struggles is having EDS. I have very, very weak grip strength. So playing the guitar is actually really difficult. I'm going to try to see if I can find a guitar teacher with EDS. I live in the middle of nowhere, so I'm not going to be able to find that person here. There's virtually no one here that teaches guitar. I asked everybody. I even posted on like the town Facebook page. I talked to the radio station. I talked to the local community center. There's no one. So I'm going to try to teach myself guitar and hopefully I can at least get some basic skills until we move and I can, move somewhere where there's a little bit more culture, life, however you want to call it. By the way, the only highlighter I've been wearing these days is the Vive Skin Dew. It's so good. It's like metallic and it's skin-like and it smells like marshmallows. It's so, so good. And it starts out as like a really sticky kind of gel cream, but then it sets down on the skin, which I love. So I'm breaking out the guitar, and then I decided, why not just make the Spotify playlist an even bigger extension? And I decided to start volunteering at my local radio station. It's called KMUD, or as we say, KMUD, and it spans 200 miles north and south of Garberville and 40 miles inland from the coast, which I learned in my first day of training. And I'm going to be volunteering there 3 times a week. Once a week will be with the engineers, because I'm also learning how to be a radio engineer, which I thought would be really helpful so that, I can be the best DJ that I can be if something goes wrong, And then 2 days a week are going to be shadowing a DJ on the air. And then after I do, I think like 6 hours with each person, then I take a test. I put together a mock radio show, and then they let me know if they're going to let me on the air. So I'll keep you posted about that. I'm trying to come up with names for my radio show. I honestly am so bad at coming up with names. I don't even know where to start. It's going to be more of an eclectic program. I've always been really inspired by KCRW's Morning Becomes Eclectic. If you live in LA, you're probably aware of what that is. And if you don't, you should totally listen online. It's from 9 a.m. to noon, Monday through Friday. And it is just an incredible program where you can just listen to all types of music, new music, old music, all different genres. They're just incredible. So I'm excited that I'm doing that. I'm a little bit insane though, because I have my full-time corporate job. I have this YouTube channel, and now I have my personal channel that I'm posting on more. I'm running my State of Kate Instagram account, and I'm volunteering at the radio station 3 times a week, and I have a chronic illness. So I might be biting off a little bit more than I can chew, but generally that's a place that I'd prefer to live in. Okay, I think I'm gonna try this as a base, which is the Armani Eye Tint in 44, which is a shimmer shade. It's kind of like a light peachy copper. We'll see how that goes. I've never used it as a base under some other shadows before, but this is really beautiful. You could use it on your own, and it's nice and sheer and easy to use, but it's not patchy at all, which is great. So I'm really excited about the radio station. It's very, very remote here. We're so isolated, and that's the reason why we're trying to move and buy a house in Ojai, but there's just no inventory in Ojai right now. There's like 2 houses for sale. So we're getting a little bit nervous, but it's nice to meet the community here because I had no way of meeting people otherwise. There's only 1 bar in town, there's 1 restaurant, and then there's a couple cafes that close at like 3 p.m. So I've just had no idea how to meet people. And also, as much as I love the community here and I love the people here, they're not my people. I don't fit in here. I stand out like a sore thumb. People here are pretty classic hippies. Like, don't wear deodorant, have dreadlocks, just people that I'm like very different from. And I think it's great to be exposed to people who are very different from yourself, but it is also very isolating to be in a community that you just can't relate to, and a community that also doesn't really accept you. Next, I'm taking Phytosurgence Astral Atmosphere, which is my ultimate spring shade right now because it's like pinky and coppery and peachy and sparkly all in one. So I'm really excited to be getting my start at the radio station. I think it's also a great situation for me because living in a town that's so small, I have more of an opportunity to make an impact versus if I lived in LA and I tried to get an internship at a radio station, I would have to have like so many work samples and years of experience, and it would be very competitive. So it's really nice that I've figured out that there's a radio station that's currently training new people, and I can kind of be a little bit more of like a big fish in a small pond kind of thing. And hopefully I can get a bunch of experience working at the radio station. I can have an on-air show, and then eventually whenever we move, I could take that to wherever my new radio station is, and then that way I can have some experience and I can show them, all of my shows and work samples and playlists and things like that. But I'm also really nervous about it. It could be a total failure. I could totally suck at it. It's scary. There are things you can't say on the air. There are a lot of rules and a lot of guidelines you have to follow. You have to read all the classifieds, and a lot of times it can be a little bit stressful. So I'm definitely nervous, and I also just don't know if the community is going to connect with my music. I want to appeal more to the university students. I don't remember what it is. Cal Poly Humboldt or something like that might be the university near us. So I'm hoping that I can have more of a contemporary eclectic music program and then, help get people involved in a little bit more of contemporary music. I would play artists like Ethel Cain, Boy Genius, War on Drugs, Sylvan Esso. Who else would I want? Orville Peck, Tame Impala. But then I also would really like to introduce them to like dipping their toes into electronic. I've been told that everybody here hates electronic music, and I'm hoping that maybe I can just like slightly kind of subtly start like building them up a tolerance to it, because electronic music can be absolutely beautiful and it can take you you want a real journey, you just gotta be kind of open-minded to it. Oh God, I'm gonna try to talk while I'm doing a little subtle wing. I'm taking the Kulfi whatever eyeliner pencil in Cheeky Chiku. I'm gonna try to do a little bit of a wing. So as much as I'm nervous about the radio program and, you know, being actually on the air, I'm sick of living in fear. I'm sick of like being afraid of, you know, how people are gonna perceive me and what my success is gonna be. I'm just at the point in my life where I'm like, fuck the fear. Pursue your dreams. Do what you wanna do. Life is just too short. And ever since I got my diagnosis, I really feel like I've been so much more free because, you know, I'm more gentler on my body. I understand my body better. And I know that life is so short and really it could be taken from us at any time. And I just have felt a real massive shift since August of last year when I got my diagnosis. I just feel like at this point now I'm realizing life is too short to live in fear and it's too short to not follow your dreams. And I don't want to wake up one day when I'm older and realize it's too late and that I never pursued my dreams and I didn't live the life that I really wanted. How sad would that be? So I'm really trying to just say fuck the fear every day and just do what I want to do and do what makes me happy and fulfilled. And hopefully I can inspire one of you to do the same. And I think the sad part for me is, if I'm being really brutally honest with myself, I would have wanted to be a performer. You know, I would have wanted to sing, and that's what I always wanted. If I could trade lives with anyone, it would probably be Phoebe Bridgers. That was what I wanted to do, and I only went into musical theater because I thought that was the only way that I could get a college education and also still perform. I hadn't yet really discovered like my love of potentially being a singer-songwriter, and so I thought musical theater was the way, which turns out was not the way. And so I do feel that there's some grief there, like the ship has sailed in terms of being a performer. And I know that people say it's never too late, but when it comes to a career in the arts, you know, it's tough. That would be pretty tough. But I think as long as I have some kind of involvement like in a radio station or some kind of music adjacent career or field, and then I'm also learning guitar and just learning a new skill around music, I think then that would be a fulfilling life. Okay, honestly, I kind of have to hurry up for my work meeting, so those wings are just as good as it's gonna get today, and it is what it is. I'm just gonna smudge some of that pencil underneath the lash line and kind of connect it, and then hopefully I'm good to go on the eyes. On the lower lash line though, I am gonna take a little bit of Glossier Almond and, oh, if I can get it open, take a little bit of the matte shade and just blend it on the lower lash line. I'm also feeling really inspired right now to post a lot more on my personal channel. It's been really great having that as a resource. So if you like those kind of chatty personal videos that are kind of deeper and more thoughtful in nature, you can subscribe at the link above. No pressure though, of course. And I would love to know if any of you have any music or music adjacent careers and, you know, how you think about all these things. And, you know, if any of you out there also really look for creative fulfillment in your lives, like what brings you creative fulfillment? What are either some skills you're working on or careers that you have? I always want to know more about my audience and community here because time and time again, you guys just blow me away with how cool you are, how intelligent you are, how accomplished you are, how emotionally intelligent you are, and I just want to learn as much as I can about you guys. Just gonna clean up under the eyes a little bit. So in addition to that, obviously we really want to move, and it sucks. If we could stay in this beautiful garden area with all these incredible redwoods around us, that would be a dream, but we're renting John's parents' house at market value and it's really expensive. And so for us to not be owning the house and, you know, generating, building wealth from that is pretty tough. But when we moved in here, we were at a pretty bad place in our relationship when the pandemic hit. And so we lived here for a year and then we moved into his parents' house in Berkeley for a year and a half while they rented this out to a tenant. And then things got way worse. And then we moved in here and we started renting it full time. And that's when our relationship really started healing. You know, nature in and of itself is just so incredibly healing. We started working really hard in therapy and now we're in the best place that we've ever been, which is so great. And I'm so thankful to this place for, you know, giving Thumper the best environment he could possibly have, for giving us so much peace and privacy and nature. I mean, we've paid for it, don't get me wrong. It's not like we've been living here for free. So it's going to be really, really sad to move. We know that we're not going to be able to afford to buy a place, anything close to what this is. Well, specifically in the areas that we want to move to. We've decided LA is going to be too expensive for us. It's also just doesn't give us the land we want. We want to move somewhere where we can buy land so that Thumper can have a big yard to run around around and, you know, we can have a little bit of a view, which unfortunately means moving outside of a city. So we've decided on Ojai, which is an expensive place for real estate. Don't get me wrong. It's about an hour and a half outside of LA. It's 45 minutes outside of Santa Barbara. So there's a really good, you know, middle point for us where we could go to concerts in either direction. And it is a little bit less expensive than LA, surprisingly. And what's great about Ojai is it has that kind of upscale glam LA nature that we love. You know, there's the Ojai Valley Inn that's really nice, but it also has a lot of agriculture. And so it has a little bit more of that small town country feel that we have here. The problem is that there's just no inventory. It's such a small place that there's like one new house on the market every other month. And so far, none of them have really fit our needs yet. And we've been looking for over a year. So we're just getting at the point where we're so isolated here. We don't have any friends or family here. There's no movie theater. There's no Sephora. The nearest like Walmart is an hour and a half away, and that's where the airport is. Like I said before, there's one restaurant, there's one bar, there's a couple cafes. We don't have any community here. We're just starting to get like really, really bored. And what happens when we get really bored is we just start working 24/7. And so all we do 7 days a week, sun up to 10 p.m. is just work, 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 because that's all there is for us to do. For a while, that was good. Like, it was great for us to focus on work. It helped with my YouTube channel, but it's just not a fun life. And we want to start moving somewhere where we can really start putting down some roots. And ultimately, we really need friends. Like, we are, you know, our friends are scattered all around the country. We just need to start meeting people where we can start making some like lifelong relationships. So please think some good vibes for us. Hope that a house in our budget comes our way that we can afford so that we can move and we can start, you know, really putting some roots down, developing a community, being more involved. It would just make everything a lot better. Although there's going to be such a massive grieving process leaving this place behind. Because once we move out, John's parents are going to try to sell this place. And it's so devastating because, you know, this has been in their family for decades and decades. It's just a really, really special place. But unfortunately, you know, it doesn't seem like there's a way to not sell it. And all of these things that I've discussed in this video came because I went to Coachella. And so I think that people probably don't fully understand the kind of like deep emotional experiences that I have when I go to a festival like that. I remember my first Coachella in 2015. That was the year I decided to move to California, and it was because of Coachella. And Coachella is not LA, so I didn't fully understand that at the time. I just kind of thought like LA would look like that too, and it definitely doesn't. But it was a wonderful experience, and being at Coachella every time really forces me to kind of like take a look in the mirror, because anytime I go away to Coachella, there's like no service, and I just basically turn my phone off for a full week. In this case, it was 2 weeks. And I really, having that silence, having that digital detox, that time away from social media really prioritizes and refocuses my brain. And what I realized after that was, you know, my Instagram page, State of Kate, has always been a place just for makeup reviews. And I've decided to just let that go. And I'm going to still keep those makeup reviews and keep doing them. But now I'm doing more lifestyle content. You know, I posted a chronic illness get ready with me for Coachella. I'm posting just like random little snippets of my day. I'm going to post more pictures just of little photo dumps from my week, more content with Thumper, just more of my real life in its fullest. Because I think when you have a niche on social media, it can be great because that helps you grow more. And so YouTube knows exactly what your audience should be and who to recommend your content to. If you start branching out, like if I start doing more vlogs and fashion and stuff on this channel, it confuses the algorithm. And I'm sure some of you are thinking like, well, who cares if it's just a passion? Well, even with this as a passion, it still takes a lot of work to run the YouTube channels and the Instagram page. And you want people to see your work. That's just the nature of it. When there's something that is like view based, you know, you want people to see your work. So I've tried just sticking with this niche for a very, very long time, but ultimately I realized I gotta have that separate personal channel to, you know, to make me feel more fulfilled. And I have to incorporate different content on my Instagram, even though it means growing a lot more slowly. And at this point now, I am totally okay with that. I think my life has to be more focused on what's fulfilling rather than what's performing. You know, I tried seeing how it would feel if YouTube were ever to be my full-time job, and I really didn't like the feeling. It really took the joy out of YouTube for me. And I have a lot of respect. Oh my God, my lower lashes right now are giving me a real hard time. I have a lot of respect for people who can do YouTube full-time. I think it's an incredibly difficult job, and I don't think that I could do it, frankly. I've come to realize, you know, I'm too sensitive for my entire career to be based off of social media. And the real reality, if I'm being perfectly honest, is that I shouldn't be on social media at all, just based on, you know, my personality and my upbringing. But I like it. I love creating videos and I love beauty products. And these are all good things because I've felt a huge weight off of my shoulders ever since I decided I am not a good fit for a full-time YouTube career, and it's just not something that would make me happy. I've just felt so much more freedom and happiness now when it comes to creating videos because I don't have that pressure on myself. And if a video performs badly, it's like, who cares? Like my festival makeup video, I loved filming that video. I did some creative makeup looks that were colorful and had rhinestones, and I really, really loved that video. It didn't even get 2,000 views, which at, you know, my level of like 20,000 subscribers, like that's really, really low. But I didn't care because I was doing something that made me feel excited and passionate, and that's more of the headspace that I'm going for in my days. Okay, I'm gonna spray with the Milk Hydro Grip Setting Spray, which I've really been enjoying. And then I have 5 different lip options. But I'm just gonna wrap up that conversation while this is drying. As much as you want people to see your work and, you know, get views on YouTube, ultimately, I'm just not meant to have that kind of a career. And so at this point, I'm just feeling really happy and satisfied with whatever growth I have on YouTube and Instagram is cool. If I don't have growth, also cool. As long as I'm doing something that fulfills me and makes me happy, then that's great. Okay, first I'm gonna go in with the pinkest option, which is Ami Colé Lip Treatment Oil in Smitten. I feel like it's gonna contrast the eyes a little bit too much though. So if you want a nice like sheer hot pink option, this one's really great, but I think I'm gonna take this off. Next, I'm gonna try Hourglass Slip, which is a beautiful pink with a little peach in there, and it's really sheer. It's just a nice kind of subtle rosy shade that's very glossy. So that's the shade Slip, but I think I'm still gonna go for something that's a little lighter or a little more nude. Next, I'm gonna try Victoria Beckham's gloss in Bungalow. And this is a light milky pink, but it doesn't have too much white for me. It doesn't give me like NARS Turkish Delight vibes. Okay. Yeah, that could be a contender. That could be a contender. For something a little more brown, I'm gonna try Victoria Beckham's Embrace Gloss in the shade Muse. I think that's a really nice option, but so far I'm loving the Victoria Beckham one or the one I think I'm gonna use next. Okay, I bought this lip liner from Dior and it's Brown Fig. I got it because of my friend Devin Jessmer here on YouTube. Oh my God, she reviewed this and it's like the perfect brown and it's so creamy. Watch. Such a great shade, such a great formula. Thank you, Dev, for that recommendation. And you can get that at Ulta. Now I'm going in with the Ami Colé Lip Treatment Oil in Bliss, and it's just my perfect nude lip. Sheer, but adds just a tiny, tiny flush of a nude color. And I think that's definitely my comfort zone here. This lip is my vibe. Okay, so that is my current spring makeup look. If I can get my hair to cooperate, that would be nice. So that's it for the chatty get ready with me today. I hope you enjoyed it. Really hope that my work meeting goes well next. Ugh, I'm a little bit nervous. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up because then YouTube will push it out to more people and it helps my channel grow. And if you're not subscribed, please do so for more videos like this. Wherever you are, I hope you guys are having an awesome day and I hope you're happy and fulfilled and safe. And I'm sending you all lots of gentle hugs. I'll see you in the next one.